And we do have fire for you today, folks. Welcome to Manufacturing Talks. I'm Jim Vinosky, and we got a great show for you today because I have Curt and Damon from the Manufacturing eCommerce Success Show joining me today, talking about what they do, which is phenomenal because they are the most energetic and fun guys in the manufacturing kind of show, video, podcast, anything that's going on in media for manufacturing. These guys have it going on best. So we'll be back in just a minute with Curt and Damon.
Welcome to Manufacturing Talks with Jim Vinosky. Industry has a million cool stories, and Jim talks to the movers and shakers who are making them happen. Let's dive in.
PYS Media, your digital media relations agency. Public relations, website design, digital marketing. You get found by the customers and talent who need your solutions. You get media placements in top publications, the best job candidates coming to your website, a digital presence that gets you found by the right people. Call 616-298-8798 to get started today.
All right, and we are definitely bringing you fire here today, people. I'm Jim Vinosky with Manufacturing Talks. Welcome back to the show. I have one of the best ever. I know it already just because of the guys I've got on, and that is Damon Pistulka and Curt Anderson. There they are. Welcome, fellas.
Nice. Thanks for
Jim,
having us here.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, it's way overdue. You guys have had me on your show twice now, right?
You are a repeat offender. That is
Yes.
for certain.
Yes.
A repeat offender.
So I'm so happy to have the guys from Manufacturing eCommerce Success, which to me, that's the gold standard of manufacturing shows out there. So I'm aiming at you guys, and I'm not even catching you.
Wow, man, I humbled.
I don't even know what to say.
And thank you. How's that?
Yes,
thank you. Gratitude for that comment. Thank you, Jim.
You earned it, guys. Great show. Love it. The only downside of your show is I don't get to see it enough because I'm doing my own show.
You're doing your own.
And as you know, time gets a little short, but I catch it when I can for sure. Before we get rolling, I think a lot of people out there are going to know you too, but certainly not everyone. So let's have you just give a brief summary of who you are and how you got to what you're doing today. So we'll start with you, Curt.
Well, thanks, Jim. And what an honor, privilege. You and I go back a ways. And like you said, you've been on the show a couple of times, man. We really appreciate it. So Curt Anderson, #1 job on the planet. I'm a girl dad. And so that's my main, that's my day gig. How's that?
Awesome.
So I'm an e-commerce guy, work with manufacturers and kind of help them navigate this whole digital transformation, e-commerce thing. And so, I'm pretty niche, I'm not for everybody. I'm pretty niche. And so that's my shtick.
Excellent. Damon?
Yeah. Damon Pistulka, I basically love building businesses. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to work with some really smart people in manufacturing over the years and build businesses, buy them, build them, sell them for investors. And then ultimately, I do it now for individual owners. And we just blessed to be able to do what we're able to do, and working with someone like Curt, we can integrate these things and have a lot of fun things happen. So I get to play in business. That's what I get to do, and help these owners realize their dreams.
Well, and that alone is super cool. I look at what you two do and, your profiles on LinkedIn, and it's like, wow, just doing your jobs is cool enough. Right. But then that wasn't enough for you guys. You come up with this show. So where did the idea for the show come from? How did you two get together? Give me the history of that.
Yeah, so I'll chime in on that one, Damon. So it was 2020. I don't know, was anything going on in 2020? Anybody remember that little
quiet year?
And so, I think when the world shut down, I had put out like a little post on LinkedIn, and this dude drops me a note like, "Hey, fascinating blog posts, Curt. I think we should chat sometime." And so it happens to be this handsome devil here, Damon Pistulka, and we get on a LinkedIn call, and it was almost like, it's like you're in high school, and my wife comes home. I'm like, hey, I think I met somebody. We got on a call and like we totally like like I wasn't going to geek out about what I do, and like the more I kept talking about it, like Damon just has such a natural curiosity and just this genuine interest, and like he was like, hey, making me feel like $1 million. I'm like, oh yeah, we do this. He's like, oh, that's so cool, that's so awesome. We just kept going back and forth, and at the time I'd put out a book, and the title of the book is called Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. Hey, Damon's got it. That's my mom's favorite book.
There it is.
And the tagline is manufacturing e-commerce strategies. So unfortunately, I didn't think of the word success when I put out the book. I had strategies. So Damon and I became fast friends. It's COVID, the world shut down. And we were just like, man, we were like two, junior high kids that just met like the cool guy next door you're going to play baseball with or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kept, we were going to do like a little virtual event, or we were going to do this, that, the other thing. LinkedIn Live like came out like, I don't know, June or something of 2020.
Yeah.
And Damon literally is a total pioneer. He applies for it, gets accepted. And we were just bouncing back and forth ideas. I'm like, hey, why don't we do a show and we'll call it Manufacturing E-Commerce Success? And he's like, I'm in. And so we started in September-ish of 2020, and we've done hundreds of shows, and that's the story.
Awesome.
It's just a ball. It's a ball every week. It's fun. It's just, don't you think, Curt? We're just so damn lucky to do it.
And Jim, I mean, like, with what you do for Forbes, and that's how you and I connected. I just have immense respect, admiration for your articles and what you do for Forbes, being just a fierce advocate for manufacturers. That's cool. That's how we first, started our friendship. And, with this podcast here, Damon and I have had the honor and privilege of just interviewing amazing, incredible people, some influencers that, I felt we would never have had the time of, would have never had a time of day for us. And they came on and just graciously, generously gave just crazy time. Every week, I feel like we're getting like a free coaching, counseling, how to better yourself session, and it's priceless. And so I could go on and on. Damon, what do you want to?
Oh, you hit it well. It's just such an honor to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what to say. It's so much fun.
And that's unusual for you.
Yeah, that's a statement, right?
Right. Well, one thing to me, and we're going to talk about the energy of your show, which I find absolutely amazing. But the other thing is you just have this constant stream of the best kind of who's who in manufacturing guests every single show you do.
Yeah. How
do you guys do that?
Him, right there, Curt Anderson.
Must be the hair. I don't know what it is. So.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. It's, what, it's fun. People, what, Jim, as well as anybody, entrepreneurship is lonely. It gets lonely, and people just, they love to talk about what they do. They love to talk about their passions, how they make the world a better place. And so we've just found that there, just tons of people have great stories to share.
Yeah.
Excuse me. People have just wonderful stories, and they just come on and they share, how they're we've had people in tears on the show. David in tears on the show. People, like they're vulnerable, and they just share like how they built their manufacturing company or how they built their marketing company. Or, Damon, what do you want to chime in? Right.
No, it's just it. I mean, we get to hear the raw, unadulterated, how the heck you did this? How did you build a business like this? How are you helping people? Why does it really matter to you? It just those answering those questions helps. It gives us so much to be able to share it. And then the people listening, I think, enjoy it too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, and that leads right to my next question. Before we get into the energy, I wanted to talk about your day jobs that you just mentioned a little while ago. And you two are coming at a similar part of the manufacturing world from different angles, right? Is that a piece of what draws these entrepreneurs in, these kind of trendsetters from manufacturing in to talk to you guys?
What do you think, Curt?
Yeah, so we just did an interview today. Our live show, we kicked off, whatever time this goes live. We just did we always kick off the new year with our dear friend Allison DeFord.
Yeah.
She's the fierce advocate for American manufacturing, wonderful
Yeah.
Yep.
marketer. And she just gave like a great analogy on, instead of like casting a huge wide net, she gave like a Forrest Gump example for Forrest Gump fans out there, when he's out there, shrimping, and you got this massive net and you're catching like, tires and hubcaps and, who knows what. She's like, go out with a butterfly net, and better yet, go out with a monarch butterfly net. Like, get very specific, get very niche,
Yep.
And so what we try to do is, who is our audience? Who's that ideal target market that we're speaking to? And like, what problem and challenge are they facing today?
Yeah.
And how can we find an amazing, incredible guest that can come on and maybe just make their day a little bit better, a little bit easier? Jim, I'm going to share. I remember the first time you came on the show, my daughter's a figure skater, and you wrote a wonderful article about the Zamboni.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if anybody,
Still one of my favorites.
any hockey moms, hockey dads, figures, whatever, if you've been on ice and you see that Zamboni, or if you go to, I'm a Sabres fan, and, you go to
Yep.
your local hockey team and you see that Zamboni, Jim, you wrote a great article about
Yeah.
the gentleman that found it. And I never knew that the Zamboni was named after a guy named Zamboni, like
right.
we knew, right?
Yeah.
And so just like with your articles, it's just, how can you bring value? And so what
Yeah.
we try to do is we bring folks who are, like yourself, when you've come on twice, people that are just, passionate, genuine, kind, just wonderful people who are just giving themselves. And, and it makes it easy. People make it easy, right? Damon,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
because you have another live show on top of our show. So you're doing this 4 days a week.
Yeah.
To fill up that spare time that you get.
Yeah.
I still have the spare time. But it is, we really, I think about it, and Curt comes at it from a different angle than I do in the show, because I think about it when I was running manufacturing companies, and I think about this, and I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the person listening to this that is in that leadership position. What can I learn from these people that will help me today? And
Yep.
not that I'm going to be an expert, they're the experts, but how can I learn enough to be dangerous so that I can ask the right questions? And it's so much fun to just, with Curt and his knowledge of a lot more of the technical and, that part of it, and the combination, we give those people hopefully something that they can use to be dangerous.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and so I mentioned it a couple of times. The thing to me that makes your show just completely stand out is the energy that each of you has individually, and then the way you play off each other. And that it's amazing. And so people just have to clamor to be on your show. You send out invitations. It's got to be like, oh, heck yeah. Because I can't imagine not wanting to jump in with you guys.
Well, that means a
Thank
ton.
you. Yeah.
We take that as a massive compliment, and we're extremely intentional with it. Like, again, Jim, you've been very gracious. Like, I never want to take a guest for granted. I never want to take their time for, like, they're donating, volunteering their time to be on our show. And
Right.
boy, we take that with the utmost, respect and sincerity. And so, like, we spend quite a bit of time either understanding who they are, what they're doing, in your case, like, what are some of your articles, or if it's a marketer, what are they doing? And so, like, when we come in and, we try to surprise them a little bit, we keep it loose. I don't know if it's the best thing. Like, I almost, out of, I don't know, Damon, how many hundreds of shows we've done, I've very rarely sent out questions ahead of time. Like, maybe if somebody insisted on it, or they were uncomfortable, or it was somebody that's newer to me, or like a higher level, person in position where, like, all right, we need a, but typically we keep it pretty improv and pretty loose, but we come in like as prepared as possible. And so, like, we have questions prepared. We've dug into like their LinkedIn profile. We've done our homework.
Yep.
And so I hope, and again, thank you for your compliment.
Yes.
What we hope the response is that they, when they come on the show, we make them feel really comfortable. And Damon, I'll pass it to you. The note that we get frequently is, I was terrified to do this, and you guys made it so easy. You made it fun. And so just as long as we hear that the fun word, I know that's like mission accomplished, right? That's our number one goal. Damon, what do you think?
I agree. And I'll say Curt does a lot of research on these people. I really just want to play off of the questions and what's happening and go deeper into it, right? And really extract that second, third, fourth question from these people, and then play off their energy as well, because these people are passionate about what they do. I don't care if it's a marketer or a manufacturer or owner, whatever it is. I want to get in there with them. I want to feel that with them. I want everybody to feel that because I enjoy it. And that's really why I think how Curt and I working together has been so much fun for me, and I think hopefully Curt's enjoyed it too. Yeah. But and then our audience as well, because this is people. These are people's passions. Yeah. We don't go into business just because we want to do this. It's like, you really dig this. And I really want to bring that out when we're talking to people.
Yep. Well, and Curt, you mentioned something that I think we can all forget when we've been doing this for a while, is people who are coming to this having limited experience are potentially going to be intimidated. Yeah. And we forget that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I love that part about making it fun.
Yeah.
That for myself.
That's, and Jim, you can attest, we have times where we've kind of, if people use that line, punch above your weight, where we've landed some, for us, pretty big time guests. And it's such an, I'm literally in starstruck when we're on the show, talking with these people and just what they've been through and the passion. We had the founder of Reebok was on our show one time, and Joe Foster, or Kara Golden, who founded Hint Water, just some really fascinating people, all the way down to the guy that started the machine shop in Chicago, Kevin O'Sullivan. Yeah. And he came to us through the Illinois MEP, IMEC. And, he had no idea what he was getting into, had never met us before, and, gets on the show, wasn't sure what this was. And we had a blast. And then I'll wind down on this. We've started going on site and doing our show. Mm-hmm. And Damon, we had two sisters in Chicago, manufacturing in Chicago. And Melinda, I had seen her one time on camera. One time. She's that painful introvert, shy. I'd met, we had a dozen meetings and she would never go on camera. I saw her one time on camera. We met her in person. She came on the show. When we got done, she was literally high-fiving her sister's a president of the company, like a 50 person custom manufacturer in Chicago. They were high-fiving. She's been on the show 4 times now. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Oh, that's awesome. It's been just such a game changer, blessing in the friendship that Damon and I have created. We actually went to Alaska. And we did the show.
That's the stuff you don't think about.
Yeah, we did the show in Alaska together, and so that was wild.
Yeah, doing it from Alaska, and then Curt and I being able to meet and just hang out stuff over this stuff has just been so incredible.
Right.
And I don't think I was even aware that you guys had been expanding on the on-site stuff. Are you planning on doing more of that?
Yeah, great point. We are trying to do more and more. We're not super technical, so if you go we archive every live, and it'll be they're looking up our noses or this. So we're not the we're pretty raw.
We don't have good producers because you're looking at them.
Yeah, actually the producer's this guy, But so we work closely with the manufacturing extension partnerships. And so for your audience out there, anybody that's in the manufacturing world, boy, I encourage you, check out your local MEP, manufacturing extension partnerships. So we've been going on site with, we interview a lot of the MEPs. We go on site with the MEPs. We go to the MEP conference every year. And so we're really trying to help them to stop being the best kept secret, as well as these small manufacturers who are either content marketing, new to content marketing, a little bit, digital marketing is not their jam. And so we're trying to help them figure that out.
Yep. And one of my questions was going to be about the live show format, but I'm going to expand that and talk about both live and on site. What are the advantages you guys see with those things over doing what I do, which is mainly pre-recorded shows?
Yeah. Damon, you what do you think?
I like the live format
Mhm.
just because it's raw. They see you. And
Yeah.
we everyone talks about they want to know, like, and trust. And we're not for everybody, and we know that, and that's the way it is. But for the people that we are, it's a really kind of fun format, especially when you can do it like we do through the social channels and the commenting comes back and forth, because we'll get some guests on there. And it's not how famous or infamous or whatever they are, but that comments, they'll get rolling, man. And these people that are watching, I think that's really the thing. And we're sharing the comments on the screen and how it's happening. It's a lot of fun for everyone, I think, when we do it. That's one of the things from live formats. And then Curt, the live on site.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit, because I think that's special too.
I think, well, Damon, you're hitting it on the head, and Jim, and that's a great point. Is when from one week to the next or one show to the next, we can never tell what the audience is going to be like. But we've had times where like the chat box is just on fire, and we get these high level coaches, gurus, entrepreneurs, whatever, and they're just bringing like crazy, like mind blowing strategies and help, and it's just so awesome. And the chat box is just like, this is fire, this is awesome. And the guests, like they're getting, I'm getting chills right now thinking about it, but like the energy, you can feel their energy, what I mean? So again, I appreciate the compliment with you. It's such a team effort between the audience, the guest, Damon and I, going on site. I'll tell you, when we started doing that was a game changer, Damon. We had the one client. It was so I have, you're talking about like our day jobs and stuff, like, so I have clients that come on the show.
Mm-hmm.
We had a manufacturer in Buffalo, and they manufacture covert antennas. Okay. Covert antennas. So think about like your emergency, first responders, FBI, military, antennas that are covert or and they had an antenna. So they had a bunch of products on display. And what's cool, a lot of the clients that we're going to, it's almost like becoming like a little QVC show. We're like, they're a custom manufacturer. Like, hey, look at this, look what we made in USA, American made products. And it's just such a pride thing. But this company in Buffalo, they had this huge antenna that was sitting behind us, and she's pointing at it, and she goes, well, for example, this product here came out of 9/11. And like, not only did I get chills, like when we got off and when we went offline, a couple of people were like, man, we were starting to get a little emotional. From 9/11, there were a lot of, unfortunately, tragic, we know what happened 9/11. There was a lot of communication breakdown that happened that day. And for what this company did in Buffalo, they're called Styco. They created some products that solved that problem, where, God forbid, when there are tragedies, when there are first responding type situations, when there are military situations, that what happened that day won't happen, because they created a solution for it, and they're showing it to us on our show. I mean, that's way beyond like, hey, I'm manufacturing this widget.
Yeah.
Like, we're saving lives here, and this is how we're doing it. And this is made right here in the United States, in Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
And so, man, how do you put a price tag on that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
So, and I could go on and on. So like, getting on site is really game changer. And we're intentionally wanting to do more of that this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you run into any big hiccups that you didn't foresee when it comes to going on site?
Oh, every time.
All the time. Everyone.
and it's always me.
Different.
Like, I mess up the microphone. I mess up this. I met, like some technical, goofball thing that I do. We were in Chicago. Damon, remember, Nicole and I were in Chicago, and we're going to go live in like 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And it's a whole team. And one guy was standing there. So we're in this office, like upper floor, like we're way far away from the shop floor. And one of the guys standing next to me goes, hey, he goes, what if Nicole stays here and you go on the shop floor? And like, we're literally going live in like a minute. And I'm like, I look at Nicole, she looks at me, and I'm like, you stay here, I'll go there. She goes, yeah. So I run down. They had this piece of machinery. I'll call it a Ferrari. I mean, it's like a 7-figure piece of machinery.
Yep.
And I'm standing there, and Damon and Nicole are interviewing the executive team in the office. I'm down on the floor getting a tour with a woman who runs this Ferrari piece of machinery. And that was awesome. So
Yeah,
I could go on and on, but it's
that kind of stuff that we can do now with the on-site is pretty incredible.
yeah.
Yep. So, I think last time we talked, I was in the lead up to my first live shows, and the driver for that was the American Gear Manufacturers Association, and invited me to broadcast live from their trade show in Detroit in October.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I did a couple of live versions of this show in the lead up, and had to buy a bunch of gear that I didn't have for doing on-site interviews at a trade show, but it all came together really nicely. And you guys were talking about having those hiccups and discoveries every show. I got out there and I got everything set up, and it was just looking fantastic. And I had a whole day of interviews, right? I think 9 people
Oh wow.
from start to finish.
That's a lot.
And, I had these boom arm mic
Yeah.
stands that I had bought and was using, and they were working mostly fine. But I kept having trouble with the mic getting in the way of the people, getting them between them and the camera. So you go look at those live shows I did on recording, and you'll see sometimes the mic's in the way of their face, and I'm trying to get them not to do that. And the very last interview, I was interviewing 2 people, and it was a guy and a girl. The guy grabs the mic boom and turns it. And I had no idea that these things could even allow you to turn the mic the way he did. And then all of a sudden his setup's perfect. I'm like, I wish I'd known that this morning.
Yeah. I have, we could do a whole episode of blunders that I've made, interviewing some, I interviewed like a pretty big director, of MEP, which I was like, was a huge catch for me. Got him for like 10, 15 minutes. I didn't have the microphone setting correct. We couldn't hear a word.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've just about every mistake that can be made. I'm sure I haven't made them all because they're probably out ahead of me, and I'll find them out.
Yeah, you got more to do, right?
I got more mistakes ahead of me, unfortunately. So yeah,
We'll get them.
Well, you mentioned the topic of the antennas coming out of 9/11.
Yeah.
If you think about like 2 or 3 other more just topics that you've covered, what are the most special discussions that you can recall from your shows, your many shows?
Boy,
so many.
I bet. Yeah, hard to pick.
I've got one. So there was a gentleman. So there's a woman named Dory Clark, Wall Street bestselling author. She wrote a book. She's written many books. Entrepreneurial You, The Long Game, and she wrote a book. I think in her Entrepreneurial You, I believe, was a gentleman named Luis Velazquez. And I ended up, I became part of a mastermind group, and he was in this group. And so we became like just instant friends, tight buddies. He was in that book. And the reason he was in the book is he was diagnosed with a brain tumor.
Oh, geez.
And he was in Chicago. And the day he was diagnosed with a brain tumor was the Chicago Marathon. And when he was with his wife getting treatment in Chicago, he came out and he saw the marathon and he said, next year, I'm running this marathon. Mm-hmm. So now, Damon, God forbid you were diagnosed with some type of awful, terrible, dreaded thing, what's the first thing that would come to your mind? Like, hey, I'm going to run a marathon, right? Like, not many people are like, I know I'll speak for myself. Woe is me, get my house in order, get my, affairs in order, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This gentleman, this was 8 or 9 years ago, and I've been with him in person multiple times. He's been on a show a couple of times. Not only survived the brain tumor, he runs 100, not marathons,
the ultra
marathon.
Oh, geez. Really?
Yeah. He does like 100-mile race.
Yeah.
Like he's like hardcore, off the charts athlete. One of the most inspiring and one of the best fathers, one of the best husbands, one of the best human beings. Just iron sharpens iron. Just being around him, you feel compelled. I have to be a better person, and I cannot feel sorry for myself because I'm in the same presence of Luis. So that's one. Damon, how about you?
Well, and then when we had Don Schmenka on, I've had him on the Face of Bosom, but Don is he is an exceptional, and I don't even know how to say it. I mean, first of all, Luis, I was just reading the part in the book about him again yesterday. Yeah. So it's fresh in my mind. Dude is incredible. Doctors told him he wouldn't be able to walk normally.
Yeah.
And a year later, he ran the marathon. I mean, it's absolutely, and talks about how he does 10x the exercise they did. So that's crazy. And then you talk about Don Schminka that was on there. He's a leadership. I don't even know how you say guru or whatever, but this guy has studied leadership at a level that most people wouldn't even comprehend. It's like Einstein studying relativity and everybody else doing physics 101, right?
Yeah.
And listening to him talk and then meeting him like that, first of all, it's incredible. But listening to him talk about how leadership through the centuries has evolved and the places he's gone to do it. And man, just again, like Curt said, we just are around these incredible people and learn so much from it. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's almost unfair. Like it's almost like I almost feel guilty. And then a lot of folks, I don't know if I want to be respectful of our time here, Jim.
Yeah.
But a lot of folks, will be like, man, how do you have such time? How do you this has become this show is our networking.
Yeah.
So like, if I'm like, well, hey, do you never do a virtual cup of coffee? Well, sure I do. I'm like, well, that's what our show is.
Yeah.
Our show is business development. Like we're bringing on people that like we want to do business with, or that we want to be a referral partner with, or that we want to collaborate with, or we're just trying to build credibility. I never want to be the smartest guy in the room.
Yep.
Damon's much smarter than me, but I'm never the smartest guy in the room. But like it allows us to be smarter people by, number one, just being with them. And number two, by surrounding ourselves with guys like you, Jim.
Yeah.
And so it just, the credibility factor, the relationship building, the community that you can build, the networking is just insane. And it's just, the benefits are just so vast.
Yeah.
On top of the content that you're creating, you're a content, you are a content machine.
Yeah.
How you do it. But, so you get it, I'm preaching to the choir, but that's more for like people in your audience that are like, hey, geez, maybe there's something here that I should consider.
Right. Yep. It is funny though, because like you, I've gotten to talk to some really cool people I never would have ever believed I'd get a chance to talk to. Right. And going back to that point of people being intimidated coming on the show, I find myself saying, I'm just this schlub from Upper Michigan. I was born in West Virginia, moved to the UP of Michigan, grew up in a town of 8,000. I'm a nobody. I just happen to get to talk to some cool people. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Dude, like you just, same with Damon, grew up, so it just, and the thing is, people just love, as we talked about earlier, entrepreneurs, it's lonely. You don't have a platform to talk about, how, one of the questions we love to ask is, how do you make the world a better place? That's number two. The first question, I've asked you this, Jim, I think at least once on the show, we always love to ask, hey, when you're a little child growing up, in either West Virginia, Upper Michigan, South Dakota, or upstate middle of nowhere, New York, where I'm at, like we always love to ask, who was your hero? That's how we love to kick off the show, was like, who was your hero? And what we're trying to do is we're trying to set the tone of like positivity and like who made that influence. And then we want to kind of like peel back the onion, if you will, like who is this person? What are they, what are they about? And then that we can lead up to like, how are you making the world a better place today?
Yep.
And it's just, it's just such a, man, it's just such a blessing that we get this opportunity.
It is.
Yep. Excellent. We are just about out of time, but I have the most important question for last, and that is, what's next?
Damon, what's next, brother?
Well, we have done a couple of these shows now, and I think that what we want to do is we want to continue to spread the love and show people that they do have content in them, they do have good stories inside of them. They can, if they so choose, use this as a medium where they can really build their own communities and share their knowledge with the world or people that would care about it.
Yep.
And, Curt's got some great ideas, and I'm going to ride along and help and do what we can. But I think, 2024 for us is going to be a year of more awesome guests, because I don't mean more as in bigger or anything like that, just more great people we're going to be able to talk to. But then how we really can share this with the world a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Curt?
Great answer, Damon. We're trying to practice what we preach. We're trying to make things more automated on our end. to make things more efficient. And so, then we can practice that or preach that to, clients or listeners of, how can you make your systems and processes more efficient? So we're trying to, drink our old Kool-Aid, if you will. And so we're trying to automate more. Number one. Number two, we're starting to have folks that are coming to us and we're starting to coach folks on how to create their own live stream show. Damon, a dear friend of ours, just emailed me this afternoon after our show, said, "Hey, I'm going to do a live stream show, looking for help. How do I do it?" And so, we're trying to share the benefits, the value, the proposition. And so we're starting to help people. And then the third thing that we're starting to do, Jim, is we're starting to reach out to other live streamers, and we want to create a community of live streamers together. And maybe that's something that we need to talk about with you. And so instead of all of us being in a silo, just kind of doing our own thing, how could we create a community together of man, you got to catch my buddy Jim. Hey, you need to catch Megan Zimba. Hey, you need to catch this live streamer. You need to catch this guy's covering this topic. This woman covers this. We all cover such vast different topics, and there's just so much great content. And it's all right, well, I have to go to Damon's LinkedIn profile, or I've got to go find Jim. So we're talking to different live streamers about, hey, how could we kind of maybe start teaming up, muscling up together? And, so that's another thing that's on our radar is creating a community of live streamers. So that's a goal of ours this year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. 2024 is going to be a fun year.
Yeah. Well, knowing what I already know about you guys, I know it's going to be fun.
If it's not fun, Jim, we're not doing it, dude.
Exactly. It's not happening any other
pull
way.
the pictures up with Curt. No, I won't do that.
All right. Anything to share before we wrap, guys?
Oh, and thank you.
It's been fun.
Jim, thank you, dude. We, again, we appreciate you. For any new listeners, follow Jim, catch his Forbes articles, go back and catch his old ones. You're a dear friend, blessing in the manufacturing community. It's such an honor and privilege to be here. We can't wait to have you back on our show for the third round. And so we appreciate you, dude. So thank you for this opportunity.
So much.
Well, Damon Pistulka, Curt Anderson, right back at you guys. I love what you do. Whatever it is you have, you're putting together to get that community going, sign me up. And yes, we will definitely have you guys back on in the future, and we'll keep this thing growing. Awesome stuff.
Love it. Thank you, dude.
Thank you.
Yep. And of course, thanks to all of you guys, because you are the ones that we're doing this for, and you're the ones who give us the energy and the wherewithal to get out there and uncover these cool stories like Damon and Curt brought to us today. We're here every Tuesday on Manufacturing Talks. Join us. I can't promise everyone's going to be this fun, because that's impossible. These guys are the most fun I know, but they're all going to be fun. So come back again next Tuesday. We'll see you.
Thanks for tuning in to Manufacturing Talks with Jim Benoski. Watch for new episodes dropping every Tuesday. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.